Hello, you're here with T,
And Matthew.
And Ty.
and we are the Bing Zang Zoom podcast. Can you dig it? Uh, First off, I want to congratulate my boy Ty. You know what I mean? On the Twitch affiliation, yes,
Oh,
sir.
thank you. It was
Hats
great.
off.
Best thing.
All credit due to Owen Wilson in the background
Oh yeah, that's all. It's all.
there.
No, it was crazy. Last night we had a pretty epic stream. It was the second. It was my second stream as an affiliate, and we had a bunch of people in the chat. We had a bunch of bits going off, subscriptions going everywhere. So it was really cool, man. Really good
Yeah.
community. I didn't think I was gonna get a lot of views. I was playing Civilization 6. It's just like a boring strategy game to some people, and so I was just like, oh shit, it's like 60 people here. What's up, guys?
Yeah.
Now we of course know what it is, but if you want to remind the people what your Twitch name is and everything, so they can follow you.
Yeah, so it's twitch.tv/thebaldwaffle. So
Right.
just right over there.
Right.
That's
Remember that. Bald waffle, okay? Unshaven.
unshaven.
So Cobra Kai seems to be sweeping the nation and sweeping the leg, right? Right, Matthew?
Right.
So tell us about Cobra Kai, because I probably am the only person that has not seen it yet.
I'm actually
Right.
only on part of the first season right now.
Okay, so spoiler free then, gotcha. All right, so Cobra Kai, back in the 80s, the people who did Rocky decided they wanted to do a karate franchise, so they did the Karate Kid. There were 3 original movies. There was a somewhat soft reboot, and then later on there was the one with Jackie Chan. Right? This is a continuation of the original Karate Kid franchise, picking up 30 years later and following the rivalry between Johnny and Daniel-san as it's picking back up. And it kind of questions who really is the good guy and who really was the bad guy. Did Daniel cheat in the tournament and that's why he won? Was Johnny really the jerk, or was he defending himself? What was their relationship? And the show kind of just deals with that and deals with, martial arts and picking things back up and people's rivalries and bullying and all these things. It was originally on YouTube Red, or YouTube Premium as it became known later on. And it is now on Netflix. And so after the show being out for 3 or 4 years, it suddenly got this giant following.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing originally the first few episodes on YouTube Premium, because they had it was originally a YouTube original, and I remember they gave you they let you watch the first 2 episodes free. And I didn't even know it was on Netflix. I logged into Netflix to finish Hunter x Hunter, and then I was like, oh, Cobra Kai. I didn't know this was here. Netflix got this. And I ended up watching it a little bit more. It's pretty good so far, so I'm enjoying myself with it.
Yeah, interesting stuff though. Yeah, I mean, from what people are saying about it, it's interesting stuff. So I have to actually check it out. But I've actually been away from all that for a little bit here, but time to get back, see what's going on in the world. I've been in space.
It's interesting too because right now it's the #1 show on Netflix, and it's a martial arts show. Not that long ago, Legend of Korra was #1. And then a little bit before that, Avatar: The Last Airbender was #1. So a lot of these, kind of younger audience skewed martial arts programs have really been hitting the high numbers lately.
All right. Yeah, you never know. I think that's the wave of the future. Think of it with UFC, for example, MMA in general, all these different. I mean, martial arts has always been around, and some people brought it to the forefront. Chuck Norris, Bruce Lee, people like that. But to have it in show form now, and on a consistent basis, and many different shows, it's started to expand. I think the only show that you had was what was it with the guy that hung himself?
Kung Fu.
Yeah, Kung Fu. And Kung Fu: The Legend Continues. It's that's pretty much it in terms of the being about martial arts mainly. But But yeah, something like this, I can see how it can be making a return, not just for the younger audience, but for the people who were around, for the originals.
Yeah.
We can't forget about the legendary Kung Pao as well. I know we talked
Yes.
about that a whole episode, like 2 episodes ago, but no, I'm just totally kidding with that.
Yeah, Kung Pao. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But
Best kung
speaking
fu
of
movie
sweeping the
ever.
leg, though, speaking of sweeping the leg, and the UFC, John Jones versus Brock Lesnar is a possibility right now. Um,
Put him in a
that's
body bag. Yeah.
it's exciting, and for them both to be fighting at heavyweight. Because just a little background: Brock Lesnar, his last fight was with Mark Hunt a while ago, and he won that fight. But then afterwards, it was proven that he had used some performance enhancing items, and
Damn protein.
so it was yeah, too much protein. And so he was stripped of his win. Now, Brock Lesnar, obviously a heavyweight, weight limit in the heavyweight division, and UFC being 266, I believe, and he's right there. Whereas John Jones, he would be coming from the 205 fighting range, and I think he normally walks around at about 230. So, but I still think that John Jones has a good chance at beating Brock Lesnar, just because of his skills. They don't lend well to Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar runs into him. He's got a sharp. John Jones has a sharp knee waiting for him. Brock Lesnar goes to pick him up. John Jones knows how to wrestle. He's gonna shift his body weight well. Look at the Daniel Cormier fight. Daniel Cormier is one of the most accomplished wrestlers in the UFC, one of the best wrestlers in UFC, and he was not able to keep John Jones down. So Lesnar, I know Lesnar is a beast. Don't get me wrong. I just think that John Jones has the skill set to beat Brock Lesnar um, efficiently. Where Brock Lesnar, when he fought, for example, Alistair Overeem gave him a few shots to the body, and this is around the time where Brock Lesnar found out that he had diverticulitis. So I don't want to, really take away from Alistair's win over Brock Lesnar, but the man was sick and he still went in to fight and put on a decent performance up until the shots to the body. That's what took him out.
I mean, tell Jordan you can't put on a good performance while being sick. Come on.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Exactly. And I'm sure those two have a similar mentality. Um, Speaking of Alistair Overeem said about Brock Lesnar that he doesn't think that at 43, going on 44 years old, and with the USADA issues, that Brock Lesnar will actually return to the UFC now that his WWE contract has expired. And Overeem thinks that he'll probably just end up signing back with the WWE, which wouldn't be bad for him either. But a lot of people want to see the outcome of a John Jones Lesnar fight. John Jones went and relinquished the light heavyweight title. So he's serious about this fight with Brock Lesnar. And if it comes to fruition, I'm going to be like yelling like a schoolgirl.
Oh yeah. Who do you think would actually? Who do you guys think would actually win in that fight between the two? Like, because Jones, like, I mean, I think has a little bit of a better advantage over Lesnar as far as striking and just all these other, and submissions and stuff like that. I was reading this article on Bleacher Report. I don't know if you guys look up Bleacher Report, and they say that Jones would defeat Lesnar in a TKO in the second round.
Yeah, I think that John Jones, like I said, I think he has the skills to beat Lesnar, and he's just a more well-rounded fighter. But then again, anybody can get caught, and that's the thing. Yes, Lesnar is more likely to get caught than Jones.
Yeah.
But Lesnar is also a freaking beast. For example,
and a tough guy.
Again, he was using performance enhancing drugs, but it's also the mentality too. The way that he picked up and slammed Mark Hunt the way that he shoots across the octagon, being that big, 265 freight train. Um, if you blink when he's shooting in, you're getting taken down. You know, so with that being, and there's no like, yes, John Jones is a great wrestler. John Jones knows what to do, but I think he'll get overpowered if he's in the wrong position. And so, for example, if Lesnar gets Jones's back to the cage, Jones should never let that happen at all, because he's going up. Especially if he comes in, you know, anything less than about 240, he's probably going to go up in the air. Now, what happens after that? Lesnar doesn't seem like he's the best finisher, submission wise, or he'll get you down, he'll lay on you, and he'll pound you down. And while that's not exciting, and it's not fun to be on
everybody's
the other end of,
older sibling,
not necessarily a finish. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. He's gonna give John Jones a noogie once he gets him down on the ground. I told you not to fight me. What's wrong with you? Supposed to be a light heavyweight. But yeah, it's just if for example, if Lesnar does that shoot in, that double leg that he always goes for, Jones is going to. There's no question about it. He's going to knee check him.
Oh,
now, where that knee lands, I don't know, but he's going to get that. So that nullifies that shoot in, because Lesnar normally can do that with people because he just overpowers them and he doesn't have to worry about the knee getting there because he's so fast. John Jones is a problem. I don't think Lesnar's ever fought somebody that was that fast and that talented and that capable of using their elbows and knees in particular. Just as long as it's not 12-6. I think the way that Jones is the winner 9 times out of 10. But the only way that he loses is if he does what he did with I'm forgetting his name at the moment too, but where he 12-6 elbow. His only loss on his record is a 12-6 elbow disqualification. And for Brock Lesnar, he might feel like he needs to blur that line a little bit.
Well, I mean, like we talked about before, that's the thing about fighting is you could be entirely perfect and just step slightly wrong and it pull your attention away and get clocked in the side of the head. That's what makes fighting so exciting to watch, is because any tiny little minute thing that could seem like nothing could change the outcome of the match.
Yep. I think Lesnar's Jones will be looking to tear apart the body and then finish it, like for the first round, tear apart the body and finish it in the second. And I think Lesnar's going to be looking to take him down, but take him down soft. So not the double leg, but to get him back to the cage and then pick him up, slam him. That way he knows he has it and he doesn't have to worry about really taking knees on the way up. Yeah. Or on the way down. But yeah. Right. Left and right. East and west. But speaking of fighting and martial arts, Mulan. Have either of you seen Mulan?
Yeah. Yeah, not the new one, but
I mean, right. Yeah. The new one, I mean.
No, not the new one. No, Eddie Murphy's in it, so I don't want to see it. I'm playing. I'm playing. $30
plus the price for a Disney Plus prescription. So I mean, basically $40. A little rich for my blood.
I don't even get to own it either at that point. Like, that's just like.
I mean, I get it, because they're trying to balance like what they're doing. If it's a family of 5 that would normally buy 5 tickets, right? It makes sense. But for just me by myself, I'm not gonna pay that price for it.
I mean, because think about it, if you buy like one ticket, that's like, if it was any cheaper, it's like buying one ticket and then you could just invite your entire neighborhood to your house. Like, yo, I got Mulan on the DL. You want to come watch it? Like, right. Disney's smarter than that. They know better. But I think it's coming like just in December. It's just going to be like on Disney Plus. So if you're just going to hold out for a few months, you'll be able to just watch it with the normal Disney Plus membership.
You're itching to see Mulan in person, like, or in human form. Then you probably wait till the holiday time.
I'm excited for it. I really want to see it. It seems very interesting. It seems like they got a lot of things like accurate, like cultural wise, from what I've heard about development with it. So that's kind of why I'm more interested. Is not because it's Mulan, but it's more culturally correct, you know. So, but I don't know. I guess I'll see it in December. But
now is Disney sending out popcorn vouchers too?
They better be for $30,
come
bro.
on now.
For $30, I better be getting popcorn and a drink with that shit.
Was it Orville?
Orville Redenbacher.
Yeah, there you go.
The extra butter, baby.
I mean, bear in mind, I still haven't seen it yet, but some of the changes that they made are interesting to me. I understand not putting Mushu in it because they wanted to have a more serious take on it, more realistic. But then you got the one witch girl who turns into like a hawk or a whatever kind of bird, right? So it's like, yeah, real realistic here. Just throw the fucking dragon back in.
Yeah, right. I don't think we would have I don't think it'd be good without Eddie Murphy though. Like no one can be Mushu.
And and another thing I know that they changed.
Have Eddie Murphy dressed up into be like 3 different characters in that. He's the dragon.
That would be great.
The Nutty Professor.
Big suit. Now, I know they also changed for political correctness that, Mulan had that sort of romantic relationship with the captain, right? Who sings, I'll make a man out of you. And this one, they changed the captain into 2 characters. So there's her boss and then there's her love interest. And they said that it was because they felt it's inappropriate in modern culture to have somebody be interested in their, superior. I guess, but that's still kind of a weird change to me. But we got Donnie Yen playing the captain now, so I can't complain too much.
Totally cool with that one.
Now, do you feel like that that can't be a love interest?
I mean, Donnie Yen would be a little bit older than her, so
yeah. I mean, that's a little weird, a little on the weird side.
You don't know her personal life. She could be a gold digger in disguise. We don't know this. Just because she likes to fight people doesn't mean she isn't a gold digger. I know a lot of women that are gold diggers who like to fight people.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll come back to it in December when y'all actually see it.
What did you think of it though? Because you did see it.
Well, I did see it, and I don't recommend that people go and pay $30 to go see it, but it was a decent movie, man. It was all right. I appreciated the realism, and I appreciated it not being disrespectful to the culture, and because I understand how people can take things a different way, and quite frankly, it would not have been as serious of a movie with too much comedic relief, but the point wouldn't have gotten across. This is multiple things. This is a female lead. This is a person of Asian descent. So like there's a lot of factors here, and so I guess the idea was now's not the time for comedic relief. This isn't a comedy movie necessarily. This is, a very serious
martial arts epic.
Right, yeah. And that's what they wanted to come across as. Now, overall, it was like I said, not $30 worth, but it was I give.
How was Donnie Yen?
He was on point. He was real good. His character in the movie was done well. I mean, yeah, he was all right. It wasn't. Then again, there's not too much to go off of either. So it's following Mulan. All of the actors did a good job of playing their particular role, but it feels like I don't know. It's there's a little bit more that they could have done, but I can't put my finger on it just yet. And don't worry, it has nothing to do with Eddie Murphy.
Damn it!
Right.
One question I do have about it, just because this is a question that I've been kind of fixated on. So, is this movie like it's focused on her, right? It's not like, it doesn't like stray off into like other character arcs for a little while or throughout the movie, or is it just focused on her?
Yeah, it's focused on her. It's focused on Mulan and
because that's
like
what I was worried about. I thought they were going to be too want to add too much cultural aspect to it, where to the point where it strays off of Mulan herself. That's what I was partially worried about. I don't know why I was worried about it, but I was like, they're probably going to want to get this like so politically correct that they try to stray away from like Mulan's main story.
Yeah, and fill so much like put so much filler into it that it loses the original story. Well, no, that I don't think that was the case. I just think that they followed Mulan and they used Mulan to tell the story and the plight. And yeah, with that they did a great job. So it was like it was one of those things where it was meant to be epic and it falls short of being epic because it was bland at parts, but overall, like I felt like it was a good movie. It just seemed like a good movie for exactly what it was, which was, straight to the streaming site.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know how well that would have done in the theater, but it is Mulan, so.
I mean, if it was in theaters, and it was safe to go to the theater, I would have seen it.
Yeah, same here, probably.
Right.
$5 matinee show, bro.
Yeah. Facts. Can't beat that. Speaking of movies, we got one of my favorite franchises making a return here. Scream making a return. And guess who's making a return to Scream? Neve Campbell. That's right. She's back. And I don't know how old she is right now. But I don't know if she's coming back as the Mask or
she's 46.
Oh, she's 46. Okay.
Yeah. I have her Wikipedia page pulled up because when you put her name in the chat, I was like, "Who the fuck is that?" Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, it's her."
Hey, well, let me tell you something. I only
remember her from Scream, so it's like
right. Let me tell you something about her. Look, when I first saw Scream, right? Like, mind you, the concept was good and everything, but when I saw her as the lead, I was like, son, she's kind of bad. Look at her pictures from back then. I was like, yo, whose girl is this?
Nowadays they'd be doing, the Zoom call is coming from inside the house.
Right.
I traced the IP and it's mine.
Like you just know where it's at. Like okay, the location says right here. All right, can you stop calling me?
Look, man, I got police on the other line. Let's go.
I see my curtains in the background of the video. Yeah. Come on.
I saw you on my ring. You passed by the house like 4 times before you called me. Come on, guy. Same car, same time, all the time.
Got sensors on my windows, jackass. I don't open them fuckers. I gotta save AC, bro. It's hot as hell in here. Windows don't open when the AC's on. I know better than that.
Yeah, and what's crazy too is like about Scream in general. Like I said, it's one of my favorite things. But like, so when I was in what was it? I think it was middle school, right? And yeah, definitely was middle school. So I was drawing like these little comic books, making these little comic books. And I was using the Scream character in the comic books, right? So I drew like me and some of my friends in it, and the Scream, the ghost from Scream, he kills some of them, right? And they got all interested in it, and I was like, oh, well, this is cool. So I started drawing more comic books with other people from different classes.
And that's how you got expelled.
Well, let me I'm about to get there.
How'd you know my punchline?
Right, oh, man. But right, Matthew's like, oh wait, I thought it was. So basically, what happened was, I was and I never knew why, but so I was drawing these comic books, and like they wanted to see more. They're like, oh, they want to see who dies next in the next installment, right? So I just kept making comic book after comic book. I go home and just draw like, all right, well, who else is left? You know what? Such and such comes back. You know, he didn't really die or whatever the case may be because they're close friends. So I'm not going to kill him off, or I'm just going to bring him back to kill him again. You know, but so I'm writing these comic books and whatnot, and I guess the teachers got wind of it or something like that. I usually sat like in the middle of the back of class, so I could pass stuff around safely and not really have an issue. Well, I never really got got like stopped by the teacher, or no teacher said anything to me really. They just be sitting back there reading the comic books, like either before class started in that little grace period before class started or towards the end. And all of a sudden, I am in like they're like, hey, you need to go to such such room 103, like in the middle of class. There's like you need to go to room 103 or something like that, right? And I was like, okay, cool. So I go in there and it's like a counseling class. So I'm like, oh, this is all right. I get to get out of math. This is not bad. So I'm sitting in there with like four other people, and like I don't really know a couple of them. And so, you know, they're like, okay, well, how is the home life and how's family and stuff like that? And I'm like,
That's how you know
okay,
shit's about to
why am
happen.
I
Like,
here?
yeah. Right when they ask that question, how's your home life, son? Is everything okay? Show me on the doll where you got touched. Like,
Yo, real.
How's
I'm
your home
just
life? Well,
putting this
mom made
together.
spaghetti last night and it was only half cooked. So yeah.
she used
Terrible. It was
sauces instead of beef for the meatballs. It wasn't right.
terrible. You know, so then I started writing comic books about killing people because mom didn't cook the meatballs right.
I said, I don't like angel hair.
Yo, man, normally, now don't get me wrong. Normally, I can't necessarily blame them either, but at least say something to me. What's this? What is this? Don't do that. Like, give me a heads up. Nah, they were like, straight to counseling. So they didn't know where it came from. I'm like, haven't y'all heard of Scream? Y'all never seen that movie? Okay. And then I get like now when I would see my kids watching like horror stuff, I'm like, hey, cut it out. I was thinking put you in counseling.
I ain't trying to have CPS to stop it.
Right, yeah. Yo, oh man, but that yeah. So I was in that for like a couple of weeks, and I guess they might have found out that there was like it was just based upon the movie or whatever, and then that was it. And people's excitement, like I just did it one time, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, right? Like a little drawing. And then once people started catching on, that's what made me continue on with it.
Right.
Yep. Shit, if y'all need anybody to go, y'all just let me know. I'm saying I'll I'll draw up a comic book for them. Yeah. So
It's a Scream.
yeah, back
Scream.
to Scream. Scream 5. I know nothing about the plot. All I know is that Neve Campbell is returning, and I don't know in what. I'm guessing she'll be the lead, but I don't know in what capacity she'll be returning. But yeah, there's a Scream 5, and Scream 4 got good reception, so hopefully Scream 5 will do the same. I don't know how they're gonna do it. Like you said, Matthew, maybe like they're gonna have to do this in outer space or something like that. I don't get it.
I mean, Jason went to outer
Wow.
space, so
Right, you know, so it's not beyond a horror franchise to go beyond the Earth. Yeah.
yeah. How old were you when you saw Scream originally?
When did it come out? I think I might have been on Scream 2 by the time I was in middle school. So I don't if that helps. I'm not sure
Right.
because I think the first came in the '90s or something, right? Like
Right, yeah, it was like
time.
early 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I love horror films. The Universal monsters, like the original like 1930s classics, are some of my all-time favorite movies ever. But I never really got into like the slasher films. They were always a little too far beyond me. Like I liked the first Nightmare on Elm Street, I liked the first Halloween, first Friday the 13th, but like any of the sequels, I'm like, no, this is
Okay.
not for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so I
so
never.
what do you think? What do you think? the Scream Killer ranks in terms of, the most popular or historic horror films? Where you think that
Um,
franchise lands, or that killer amongst other ones?
I would think honestly, like Jason, Michael Myers, and Freddy are more probably like the top three. Yeah, and then I'd probably put Ghostface maybe. Like if you're going like all time horror, like I
Yeah.
think I don't know. For me, anyways, that would be my first three, and then it would be Ghostface. You know.
well, I mean,
You think it
there's
has to be in genre though? I'm like slasher, like you said, Matthew. You think it has to be slasher films genre over here? Where does he match up? Or
yeah, I mean, because you think about things like Frankenstein, Dracula, the
hmm
Wolfman, stuff like the Mummy, right? Like those are always going to be classics, but also because they're based on books that are now in the public domain. Every episode of a cartoon is going to do a Frankenstein, Dracula episode around Halloween, right? Like everything's going to do that because you can. Um, but I would say that actually Ghostface is probably one of the higher ones because I remember as a kid, so many people would pick up that drugstore Halloween mask of
oh
Ghostface.
yeah,
It was cheap and it
yeah,
was easy to make. So that it when kids would start to kind of get out, most of them hadn't even seen the movie, but they were like, I don't want to be Batman. I don't want to be a Jedi. I want to be something
right.
scary. That would be, even if they hadn't seen the movie, that would be the one they would go to because it'd be like $15 and mom would be like, it's not too bad, so I'll let you get it, right?
Right. Not
True, I
knowing this
forgot
is
about
a
that.
murderer.
Right.
Now, when it comes to horror, real quick, when it comes to horror, like what's okay and what's not? Like, is it okay to be Frankenstein, who's just like ooh, or a mummy or something like that, or like, is it like that's just scary? It's just unusual, so it's scary. And then you have somebody who's a human who looks like your neighbor, who's going around stabbing people. What is okay and what's not when it comes to horror?
I mean, I think it like really depends now because I mean, you got a lot of people that are desensitized now when it comes to horror. So like, I mean, nowadays something like a mummy walking around or like Frankenstein or something. I don't think nowadays that really. I think that would be more considered kind of like what you said, like classic horror. You know, like I don't think a lot of yeah, like I don't think a lot of people would really consider that just full blown horror compared to what we've had, in the recent years.
Yeah,
There's everybody's desensitized now to a lot of that kind of stuff, so it's made it honestly harder to make horror films. I think personally, that's why there's so many reboots of these old horror movies
right.
because
That's
you
true.
get Scream, another Friday the 13th, Predators, another sci-fi horror that's getting reboot. Even though I think that's kind of fallen more into sci-fi, not really horror as much anymore. But you're seeing a lot of these reboots, and they're kind of getting revamps through video games too.
Yeah.
Right.
Scream is in Dead by Daylight, or Ghostface is in Dead by Daylight. So
Yeah.
is Michael Myers. So is Freddy Krueger. Jason has his own video game now. So it's
Yeah.
like, but
Yeah, I mean, and movies are scary for sure. Like you can have nightmares and everything from a movie, but video games where you're actually like Friday the 13th, where you're actually running from the person,
Yeah.
like that's more immersion,
oh
right?
yeah,
Like there's certain
Yeah.
skill to it, and there's
oh
certain
yeah.
like I'm gonna get into this game and know it's a game, but like there's a reason why so many streamers, their most popular videos are them going to a horror
Yeah.
game,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, those things are like when you're able to get fully immersed. Like for example, the PlayStation not View
The VR.
the VR, yeah, the
Yeah.
PSVR. Like what was the game? Um there's not Dead by Daylight, there's what's the one with the clown on it? You know which
Oh,
one I'm talking about?
Blood Rush. I think it is
Yeah,
talking about
yeah,
the
yeah.
festival, the carnival.
Right. Yep, yep, yep. That chain is craziness. So basically, you have the VR headset on, so you're immersed in the world. You can look right to left, and you're seeing nothing but the world, right? And you got two guns, and you're just going through this merry-go-round, this amusement park of horror, and you have things jumping out at you, trying to cut your head off, trying to kill you. and you got to be the first to shoot them when they're right up on you. And imagine playing something like Resident Evil,
You
um,
can.
in virtual reality.
Resident Evil 7's VR now too on
Oh yeah, oh
PlayStation
man,
and PC. Yeah. Freaking, but there was one indie VR horror game that I played where you can't fight back at all. You're literally just exploring a haunted house. It's an indie game, so it's on PC, and it's just you go into this house and you can hear noises if you got the headphones on. Granted, the headsets usually have like some kind of speaker, but if you like wear headphones, it's even crazier. And they'll just like jump out at you like these little ghost girls and shit like that. And granted, it's nothing like horrible to look at. They're not like all bloody and shit. They're just little like ghost girls, but little shit like that, you're in it, you're experiencing it, and it's like VR, just video games in general, just take horror to a whole nother level. You know,
touched
Even
your heart.
something as simple as Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
Right? Like that was massively popular, and it was just a little. I think it was a mobile game, right? It was like on the cell phones.
It was a PC game. They brought it to mobile after the first one was on PC, and then they kind of verged out to mobile and tablets and stuff like that.
Yeah, the other day I asked Troy, my son, I asked him what he was thinking about because he looked like he was in deep thought. He was like, FNAF. And I was like, FNAF? What's FNAF? He was like, oh, it's a game. I was like, called FNAF? I was like, I'm interested. That doesn't sound appropriate, Troy. What are you about to do? I'm about to FNAF. So I was like, FNAF? He was like, yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's. I was like, let's not call it FNAF. For those people that don't know what you're talking about, it's gonna take them on a roller coaster.
My daughter's getting into that crazy stuff now. Like she sees all these YouTubers because I'll watch YouTubers sometimes, and and sometimes I like to watch the horror ones. Usually when my kid's napping, I'll put it on. I try not to watch that stuff around her. But she'll come out. She gets into it, dude. She actually has me a little worried because she's scared of this shit. Like there's stuff like I'll be playing. Like she came in because I have my computer set up out in the kitchen, and most of the time they'll be out in the living room playing, and I'll be out here doing whatever I need to do. And I'll get into some games, and I'll have my headphones on, and I'm really immersed in the horror game, and then I'll jump scare and not realize like my daughter's just standing right next to me, just watching the whole thing. And, like, I was playing, what was it, Outlast, and Outlast is a really gory game.
Yeah.
And, granted, she didn't like see anything like crazy from that, but she saw the jump scare that happened, and I farted and like slid back like 5 feet. I was so fucking scared. She's just sitting there like, "You got scared, Daddy?" And I was like,
"Oh, did you
didn't jump?"
Listen,
where did you come from?
she's gonna be drawing comic books here pretty soon.
Oh, God, she has
about it.
No, this is a blessing because she's gonna create the next big horror franchise. I guarantee.
Right. She's learning.
Like,
she's learning. Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's one thing that I had to talk about because we didn't get a chance to after it happened, or so I just wanted to give thanks for Chadwick Boseman. Rest in peace. The man gave us quite a few movies to remember. And to be honest, what he meant to people in general, and especially the minority communities, right? Like the man played Black Panther. He played he was in 42. He played James Brown. So many different movies that he really put his foot in, as the people would say. And I just wanted to give thanks and remember him for, the things that he did both on and off screen, because the man was well-rounded, on screen, he made sure that that the Black community was represented well, and in Hollywood. So, like, for example, one of the things that he did was for the Black Panther movie, he asked that the accent that the accent, instead of having it watered down so that people could understand it easier, that everybody practiced and had a strong accent on that film, West African accent. And so that kind of, if you hear the narration in the beginning, it kind of gets you prepared for the rest of the movie. Now you're listening with that in mind for the rest of the movie. So that was well played. Um, and just little tidbits like that. Really, he was a knight for his causes, and he stood up for them. And the man was going to see people who had cancer while he had cancer, while he was fighting it. He, did movies. How he had the energy, the drive to do anything, let alone he's going on shows, he's talking to people, touching people, getting on flights and stuff like that. So all this knowing that he doesn't have a lot of time, you know, um, that just speaks to his strength and his will and determination to give everybody, what they need: confidence, love, somebody to be there and care, and somebody to look up to and say, hey, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And he's definitely one of those. So Wakanda forever. With that being said, I'm T.
I'm Matthew.
I'm Ty.
And we are the Bing Zang Zoom podcast. Farewell.